All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 12 of the Shanevivor podcast. I am back once again, stealing Shane's spotlight to finish out the season. We are going to be going on a bit out of order today and looking at the Lazy and Barnaby vote outs. We will then hear from our guest speaker, who is returning podcast member Nicole. So stay tuned for that. The first person we will be hearing from today is Lazy. He was voted out in a tied tribal council that started out as a 3-3-1 vote, which then changed to a 3-1 after the revote, thus sending Lazy home and giving him the 6th place. Obviously, I can't talk as much as normally would, as I don't want to sway the final tribal council voting, but without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome on in Lazy. All right. Hello, Lazy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm also doing pretty good. Just kind of chilling right now. Yes.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
Of course. Just jumping right ahead. At the very beginning of the episode, you said that it thought that it was your time. You're going to go home that tribal and you were done for. How sure were you that you were going to be the person going home that night?
Um, like, it's hard to say. The whole time I was kind of iffy on where Aiden was. He kept like kind of reaffirming. He was like, I want us both at the end, da 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 da. So
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to know if that was like for real or not. But I was gonna say at least 60, 75%. I was sure I was going.
Okay. Yes. And then, yes. So obviously, then yes, we get to your tribal. It's a very crazy tribal. There's a revote, extra votes, and then the idol that Aiden played. But
Yes.
yes, so and then about the idol, you obviously learned a lot of information about the idol right when the votes were about to be cast, right when the due date was coming out. Do you think if you had more time, would you have been of knowledge having that idol, would you have been able to rush to change your plans to possibly save yourself? Or with the Aiden having the idol, do you think you're just screwed?
I think with Aiden having the idol, I was screwed only in the reason that I don't think Barnaby was ever going to do Allison realistically. And so my only real choice at that point was Aiden. And we all were, consensus on Aiden before that. But then obviously Aiden told me he had an idol. And so then I ran around to Sparky and Barnaby, like, okay, well, we can't do Aiden. But Barnaby even said it afterwards, like, you left me out of votes all season and now you need me. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. I left Barnaby out of multiple votes, even though they weren't successful votes. They weren't right on my end either. And then at the end, I needed his vote and I didn't have it. So
Yes. Do you regret leaving Barnaby out of those votes? Yes.
100%.
Okay.
Obviously, in hindsight, I would have kept him closer if I knew I needed his vote in that time. But hindsight is 2020. So what can you do?
Yes, I just didn't know if you were still confident in the move that you made at the time when you decided to leave Barnaby out of the vote. But yes, and then okay, so then you get voted out of that tribal. But assuming you don't get voted out and you actually make it to the end, regardless of who you were with, what do you think your chances of winning would be? Do you think they're really high, low, middle of the road? Just thoughts.
I would say they're pretty high. I mean, the bonus of having all your allies go home like immediately into merge is that a jury is kind of stacked in your favor, which I knew people were going to
Yes.
start seeing. I knew it was apparent, so there wasn't any really hiding it. I mean, Essence really made it apparent when she basically told me I had her vote on her way out, which didn't help. That was not
Yes.
helpful to my game at all.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I think if you make it to the end against anyone, against Mal, against whoever you were up against, I think you would have beaten them. Obviously, final tribal speeches could have changed that, and I'm not the jury. I don't know what they would actually think, but from my opinion, I think you would have had the game in your of the bag. Oh my gosh, and yeah.
No worries, you're good. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm not too sad about how things turned out because I think if I had made it past this round, touchy subjects is my downfall in Shanevivor apparently.
I hate
Um
touchy subjects.
it's a rough challenge. I can never do well at it. I've never won one. I don't think I ever will win one, but yeah, I think if I had made it past this vote, I had a solid like because again, no one else finished the final five challenge and I had time that
Yes.
day, so I feel like I probably would have.
Yes. Do you think there would have been any parts that you actually struggled with in that challenge, or would you feel pretty confident throughout the entire thing?
Pretty confident throughout the entire thing. I mean, I hate counting, but I can do it.
Same.
I don't love
Who enjoys
entanglement.
counting?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no one does, but like, yeah, I'm not terrible at entanglement or 2048, so like, I think I would have been fine.
Yeah, I personally probably would have struggled in 2048. I can never get that game. But yes.
Yeah, it can be tricky, and you can waste a lot of time.
Yes. And then yeah, about your entire season, just what are like the highlights of your season? What do you regret? Just overall, just quick 2 minute thoughts about your season on the whole.
Um, oh God,
That's a big question, I know.
I know, right? Well, there were just so many highs and lows this season. Like, I mean, you saw it in my confessionals. I was so up at some points and so down at some points.
Oh yes.
But overall, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I was waiting a second to come back, and so I wanted to at least prove that I could do well again because I think I did all right the first time. Um, but this time I feel like I made up for a lot of the things that I did last time. Last time I was super panicky and nervous, which I still was this time at points. But I think
Yes,
I
you had your
kept it
moments.
together a little bit better than I did last time. And, I tried to make some moves. They didn't always work, but I had people rooting for me, which is nice to hear. So I read
Yes.
your little like show thing, and in the beginning, you were rooting for me, and you thought I was gonna win, and there was a possibility for that. So I appreciate that.
Yes. And
But
then
yeah, overall, I had fun.
and that's really all you can expect or hope to achieve from playing orgs. Like, yes, obviously we all play them with the hope to win, but like we don't play them just because we want to win. We play them to have fun. And
Yeah,
if you're not playing to have fun, then stop playing. That sounds mean, but stop.
yeah. Honestly, it makes it not fun for everyone else.
Yeah, they're just here to have a good time, which is a couple of people chilling on Discord playing Survivor orgs.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a good time. I still have never won a challenge in Shanevivor, and I guess I never will. I don't know.
Hey, just
We
wait.
were down bad.
This is what your second season, right?
Yeah.
Just gotta win on your third season.
Yeah. Okay. I still got one
You
more
got
chance, please.
another chance to win. Come on now. All right, yes, but so obviously it was a blast watching you play this season. And do you have any final thoughts before I let you go and move on to Barnaby?
I would just like to say that I'm sorry to the entire Shanevivor community because we did y'all so bad the entire time. We were down like I've never seen a tribe get scrubbed so hard in a game, and I was in it.
Yeah, I will admit the returnees did get absolutely obliterated quite a bit.
It was really bad. Like going to 6 out of 9 for the first pre-merge tribals is way too much for any one person to deal with.
Yes, I mean, and although we did, yes, a lot of the returnees went home, but we did have great players like you and Essence who were there just to keep it entertaining throughout the entire way. So it was not a boring or bad season by any means. It was still a very fun season to watch.
No, I'm glad. And also
Yes.
congrats to Mal, 100% a deserving winner. They killed that. Like, yeah.
I guess, yeah. So another thing before you go, yeah. Thoughts on the final tribal? Obviously, you said Mal killed it. Just thoughts on the final three, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I made my thoughts very clear on Aiden. I mean, it's no like real actual like ill intent to Aiden. I just going into the final tribal, honestly, I wasn't even mad that he eliminated me because it made for pretty much everyone except Sparky, it made sense for me to go at that point.
Yes.
It just like there was no reason honestly I should have been gone sooner. Realistically,
I took a break in spectating from the Ginger vote, and I was surprised that you were still around when I came back. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna be maybe like 11th, 10th. I did not expect you to make it to final six.
Yeah, so the fact that I made it as far as I did, and then even almost made it past that vote, like
Oh
I'm happy.
yes.
But yeah, but no, Allison. I mean, Allison is Allison. She did not do much the whole game.
Do you
Apparently, she had fans, and honestly, good for her.
yes. Do you think Aiden deserves second over Allison, or do you think Allison deserved the second place?
Realistically, Aiden deserved the second. Like Aiden did play a solid game. He just did not manage his relationships well throughout the entire game. And so it just ended up that like and then by the end what it's his final speech just he was trying to take credit for a lot of things that I don't necessarily think he could take full credit for even though he was a part of them. He wasn't
Yes.
necessarily like the lead in it and he was trying to make himself the lead and I don't know, it just kind of I think that really sealed his fate.
Yes. Yeah, I agree there. I think obviously it's fun. Allison, woohoo, give her second. But yes. I think
Yeah,
Mal
I think
definitely
Aiden
deserves the win
deserved it.
over Aiden, but yeah. Yes. But anyways, yes, it's been great talking to you today. I mean that but yes, it's been fun, but unfortunately I am gonna have to let you go so we can get along with everyone else.
No worries. Yeah. See you later.
All right, goodbye. All right. Well, once again, thank you, Lazy. We will now be moving on to our next eliminated player, Barnaby. Barnaby was the victim of a Shanevivor first, a 0-vote tribal council, where everyone failed to complete the ruthless Iron Man challenge, and more on that later. That's the final 5 that Lazy mentioned before. And that resulted in every single castaway losing their vote at the final 5 tribal council, with both Mal and Sparky being immune due to making it the farthest in the challenge. Barnaby drew the unlucky 1 out of 3 rock that sent him packing. So let's go ahead and bring him in here. All right. Hello, Barnaby. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. I got off of work early today, so that's nice.
Love to hear it. Yes, glad to have you here. And we can go ahead and jump right on in if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So starting off right off the bats. So first things first, let's go ahead and talk about the tribal. So not a single person had their votes, and you happen to draw the unlucky rock that's sending you home at final 5, which is that's 0 votes against you the entire season, right?
Yep.
Yes. So what are your thoughts on being sent home with 0 votes and the entire tribal with 0 votes that anyone cast at tribal? Just thoughts on it.
Um, I wasn't really expecting anybody to get a vote. I thought it was like a super hard challenge in my opinion. I was like really rude about the way I complained about it. But it was like so set up where you had to do everything and absolutely, I guess the challenge was so hard that only people who really had a lot of time would succeed. And that's basically how it's designed. But nobody really, I felt like, fit that mold, that type of player who was like willing to do every single thing just to do it because it took so long.
Oh, yes. Absolutely one of the most grueling challenges that we've ever seen. Just a ton of work that if you wanted to actually fully complete the challenge and get your vote. Yes. And then, so obviously that tribal resulted in no one voting, go to rocks, you go home. And you got unlucky. But assuming
Yeah.
you don't get unlucky and you happen to be safe instead, and either Allison or Aiden goes home, how do you think the remainder of your game would have panned out? And what would be like your chance to win, assuming you made final 3?
Um, I obviously would try in my best effort to get out Mal, but depending on if Allison survives, I really don't know because Allison was going to give Mal fire no matter what, and I think I could have been like the secondary target in that scenario, or maybe just even Sparky. Like Sparky could have been a secondary target. Um, the whole way the Final Four was handled would be completely different because Sparky should have not gone in that scenario. Mal, like I always knew from the start, Mal was going to be a big threat closer to the end, even though he had this like underlaying threat level where he didn't play as the top player, but he didn't play as the bottom player. And I just would have been like, I would have taken him out at Final Four if I was given the opportunity to. And I honestly don't think I win an FTC scenario with me, Sparky, Allison, or maybe like interchangeable with Aiden. It's not really likely, but I think I would definitely edge out Allison or maybe even Aiden.
Okay. Yes. So you think you're expecting a second place, assuming you made final tribal?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay. And now, so we've already mentioned it a little bit, but the Iron Man challenge. So no one really performed that well in it. You obviously had your people that counted, but then failed the very next part. Do you think that challenge is too hard for a final 5 challenge, or did it just not have the right people that were motivated enough to do the challenge?
I just felt like I understand it as it's you're trying to test a player to the very extreme and get them ready for FTC. I think it was just like it sounds great in reality, but it just doesn't have enough time at that point. Some players just don't have enough time to do that challenge. Like me personally, I had a specific time frame where I could do the challenge, and even then it would be like very close to nighttime. So even if I could complete it, it would be done at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
It's very cool on paper. It's just would not work in many scenarios.
Yes, I agree with that. A lot of people have different things going on in their lives that they can't afford to dedicate. Like, how long would it take? Like, just 5-6 hours? There's more than that.
It said something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Either way, the number. There's just so much going on in people's lives that not everyone can take the time to dedicate however many hours to doing a challenge for an online org. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yes, and then so obviously the game didn't pan out. You didn't make it to the very end. You didn't win. But just give me your thoughts on what are the just thoughts on the entire season, your highs and lows, just thoughts on how you played.
I'm going to say this is by far probably like my top 3 messiest performances I've ever played. It was really hard to navigate through this game, and I'm surprised I survived that long without receiving a single vote, considering people put me on the chopping. I was on the chopping block at many occasions. I'm just kind of proud that I got very far into the game, and I may have not won, I may have not played the best, but I was at least someone who didn't play the worst, and
yes,
I had somewhat of a game.
Yes, and I think like throughout all of my podcast episodes, I would keep asking people who are they rooting for, and so many times everyone would just say Barnaby. Oh, I'm rooting for Barnaby. Oh, I would love Barnaby to do well, and I just kept hearing your name. It's just it was just great. You had to be doing something right to get that many people to want to root for you and for you to do well.
Dang, I need to watch some of these episodes now.
I know your name just kept coming up as someone that people wanted to succeed. But yes, so you said on your way out that you had a lot to say on your podcast episode. So before I let you go, do you have any final words that we haven't covered yet that you would like to say?
I just want to say this season had a lot of control freaks, and I know this isn't like the most positive thing, but it's just me being stupid.
You can say whatever you want.
I guess thanks for casting me, and I hope I was at least interesting enough to make the host somewhat like me. And yeah, thanks to the players.
Yes, thank you for coming on to the cast and for coming on to the season. Thank you. All right. Well, so I'll have to talk to you again sometime soon. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. So thank you, Barnaby. And now that we've heard from our 2 eliminated players, I think it's time we hear from our guest star, Nicole. Come on, she doesn't need any introduction. Let's get her in already. All right. Hello, Nicole. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Hello. Yes, I can. We are back at it again.
Woo!
How are you doing today?
Doing good. I had a long weekend. We were off for the 4th, so I just got back to work today.
Lovely. So, yes, let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So, we're going to go in order and start off talking about Lazy in his episode. So, at the beginning of the episode, Lazy wasn't at all confident in his ability to stay in that game, but managed to get it to a 4-3 vote in his favor with 4 votes on Aiden. Assuming, and that would have sent him home if he did not have an idol to play. Obviously, that wasn't the vote count that we saw at Tribal once the votes are read. But were you shocked that Lazy was so close to being able to save himself? Or is this just what you've come to expect from Lazy this season?
I mean, it's kind of shocking, but also not, because Lazy, I feel like, has been basically fighting his way through this competition from the very beginning. So to see him keep fighting and keep making it through, I mean, he was almost first out and was able to turn the votes around, and he kept doing it every single round. So to see him keep doing it and getting so close, it was cool to see, and it was not surprising to see, but also I think the touchy subjects kind of threw any safety he had out, and
yes,
unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Just gonna real quick give me just off the top of your head your favorite Lazy moment this season. He was a big player. Favorite moment with him?
Oh gosh, I loved all of how Lazy did diary entries. I haven't seen anybody really do that before with their conferences. So to see like the daily diary entrances, even if it was just ranting about how stressed he was pretty entertaining.
Yes.
Oh, and I love the little duo of Lazy and Ginger. They were so cute.
That
so
was
sweet.
great.
I wish they would have made it further. They were a cute duo.
If Ginger wasn't first merge boots.
I know, poor Ginger. He finally makes merge and then he's out.
Wah, wah. Okay, so yes, we're just going to be moving through it semi-fast right now, but we'll just a final thing on Lazy before we go to Barnaby. Do you think he wins against anyone else in the season if he makes it to the final tribal, or would there be someone that could give him a run for his money?
I mean, Mal's a really good winner, so nothing against Mal. I love Mal. Did an awesome job. That would probably be really the only one. Mal or Essence would probably be the only ones to give Lazy a run for their money for sure.
I would have to agree with that.
But the jury absolutely loved Lazy. So if Lazy would have made it to final tribal and it would have been, say, Lazy, Aiden, Barnaby, or Lazy, Aiden, Sparky, Lazy would have took it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you there. Lazy's a massive threat. He obviously has competition, but I think if he makes final tribal, he has a very good shot at actually winning. So now, jumping over to Barnaby's episode. First things first is the Iron Man challenge. Don't need to say anything about it. You know what it is.
Yep.
Give me your thoughts. Just talk about it to me.
Oh God. Well, that was insane. I have had to count to 5,000 before, back in season 5, I believe it was, to get our votes back because nobody took breathe. So they were like, "Oh, if you want your vote back, then you're gonna have to count to 5,000." So
Yes.
I have done that before, and it's not easy. It's your eyes kind of go cross-eyed after a while. So I commend them for even trying to do it.
And then, yes, and even after counting to 5,000, which I think Mal and Sparky both did, then you had so many other challenges that you had to do, like 2048, getting a 90% on perfect circle, getting entanglement, which is what they eventually both ended up losing on. And I think there was one more thing. There was just so much to it.
Yeah. God, entanglement. That would have gotten me. I'm just not good at entanglement. Like, Patty is really good at it for some reason. I've seen Patty and Hex both just kill entanglement, and I don't know how they do it. Like, I struggle to get 200, if that. So
I've had to do it maybe twice in an org, and I'm fine at it, but there's so many people that are insane at it that I could just absolutely demolish me. Yes. Like, I don't know off the top of my head what score I could get, but I have no idea if I'd actually be able to get to 200. I have no clue. I haven't done it recently enough.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so on the Barnaby tribal now, he happens to draw the unlucky rock, goes home with 0 votes cast for him the entire season. So with that 0 votes, do you think that comes from impressive gameplay or nobody wanting to take him out because he's not a threat?
I hate to say it, but I really think it was because he really wasn't too much of a threat. I mean, the one time that Barnaby tried to make a move and was like, "I'm gonna make a move and make sure this goes to rocks," wasn't even close to going to rocks, didn't make a move whatsoever. So, and I even commented that in this conference. I was like, "So, how'd that move making go?"
Yes, and then I can probably guess your answer to this next one, seeing as you don't think he's that great of a player. But if you think Barnaby makes the end, what odds do you give him of winning?
Not very high. He might get like a vote just for being kind of like Allison did, just because Allison was so entertaining. But I really don't think against really anybody he stands a chance of winning, unless it was like, say, Barnaby, Allison, Sparky, and even then, I don't think he'd win against like Sparky.
Yeah, I think Spartan takes it. Spartan, my gosh, Sparky takes it.
Yeah, I think new name.
Maybe only Barnaby, Aiden, and Allison, but even then, I think then Aiden ends up taking the win. Even I don't know. I think that would be his best chance of actually winning.
Same. I felt bad. He just got obliterated by the jury.
Yes, and obviously now, so final tribal council, it's happened. What are your thoughts on it?
So I think heading into Final Tribal, it was definitely always going to be kind of between Aiden and Mal as far as like who did the best in the actual competition. Allison, like I said, love her, but more just the entertaining kind of person.
Yes, not necessarily the strongest or player or really best at the game. Yeah.
But Mal definitely did the best with the Final Tribal between answering the questions and just explaining the gameplay and even a lot of the moves they made. It was hands down Mal. I did feel bad for Aiden though, kind of getting shit on by the entire jury.
Yes. Okay. And now that we're entirely through the season, who is your favorite player this season?
Oh, well, obviously I picked Mal.
Yes.
I love talking to Mal. That was a surprise that I didn't expect. But yeah, Mal reminded me a lot. Just their personality reminded me a lot of me when I played. Even just their thoughts in CF, and it was always cute talking to them. Or when they wouldn't get an idol, they'd be like, "Mom, you're supposed to find me an idol."
Yes.
That was cute. And then, of course, Lazy. You know, I love my capybara.
Oh, of course. Lazy's, they're both such fun to watch. And they're both such fun to watch. And they're both such good players, such big threats that would have made either one of them would be great winners to have win.
For sure.
Yes. And then a little bit on the other side of the coin, who was your biggest letdown of a player? Who did you just really want to see do well that didn't perform as well as you'd like?
I was really shocked by Dan. I honestly thought going into it that he was going to be, you know, knowing how he plays even in All Stars, I thought he'd go in, he'd do amazing. And then it's like, I don't know, for some reason, once his partner got out, then he just had that snap, which was interesting to watch, but it's not something I ever expected to see. And
yes,
I think that really not keeping his emotions in control really hurt him.
Yes, he was really hellbent on saving his partner, and then once his partner got out, he then was hellbent on avenging his partner and staying in the game for him. And we've already talked about this a lot on Daniel's episode, but I think that was ultimately the downfall of him just trying to stick up for Jack too much. But yes, he had his reasons of why he was doing it. So, and credit, credit where credit's due. Daniel's a great player. He has such a big threat coming onto him this entire game, like just from the very beginning, and he played such a different game from each of the other times that he has played. So it's still impressive it's made it as far as he did. But I agree with you. I would have loved to see Daniel go farther in this game, and it would have been really interesting to see him get into a merge situation, a final 8, final 6 situation. That could have been really cool.
Oh yeah, I could see him honestly being up there with Essence and Lazy, honestly, as a really good player. Because I know Dan, and I'm glad though that after everything cooled down, that everything was able to work itself back out, and everybody's cool now.
Yes. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on here on the cast once again. So before I let you go, do you have any final thoughts? I've got to ask.
I would say pretty good season overall. Merge with some of pre-merge with some of the tribes was a little slow, but once we hit the merge and you know moves started being made, I feel like especially towards the end it started picking up a lot. So,
yes, I agree.
Great job, Cass.
Woo! Yes, thank you, Cass. We can't have a great
proud mom.
Yes, you're what makes the season great. If we have a boring cast, the season's boring. So
exactly.
Yes, in order to have a good season, we got to have a good cast, and you guys delivered. So thank you.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining me again, Nicole. It's been great, but I will have to let you go.
Thank you. It's
been
fun.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. So once again, thank you, Nicole. And that is all for this 2 for Lazy Barnaby episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe so that we know you're enjoying them. We're getting awfully close to the end of the season. In fact, we've already reached it. We're right on past the end of the season with Mal being crowned as our winner. So, but we've still got a few more episodes coming for you with a few special ones in there. So don't make sure to miss them. Make sure not to miss them. Close enough. Whatever. I'll see you next time.